Cassie edited all
Cassie
that.
edited it out.
What's going on? Today's episode, we're going to talk about some adults.
This is an adult-themed episode.
Adult theme. Probably not adult theme.
Oh, okay. We're just talking about...
We'll just talk about adult.
Oh, not adult stuff. Oh, adult... okay, I'm with you. All right. On to the episode.
So, adult ball pythons. Let's take a look. I didn't even pair this girl this year. So this is just an albino girl. And, no other genes involved in this. And I get asked this a lot. That's why I want to do this video is, why do you keep some single gene snakes around? And I know that's kind of a growing fad now as far as like, the new recessives and everything's recessive. I don't want to buy nothing unless it's recessive. I think that's a stupid choice. I have this conversation a lot with a lot of people, and I'm not sure where this new fad has come from, but to each their own. My opinion. So this is, don't rip into me about this, but in my opinion, some of your projects can't advance with those recessive projects unless you also include your dominant, codominant, incomplete dominant, whatever you want to call these other genes. So the reason why I keep some simpler stuff like an albino, and I know albino is a recessive morph, and I'm going to show you some more as well. But the reason why I keep some simpler females around is a couple reasons. One, like we just said, this girl lays 12 eggs. She's a huge girl. So, obviously I work the albino project. I have a couple of those. So, it's good to keep a single gene albino around, because I have things like the Cypress GHI albino. I have things like blackhead, inchy, het snow. There's a couple of different things that I can put into this. But something else to think about is, on a single gene recessive female, then you can get a newer mutation of something. So let's say what's something that's coming out new right now?
New right now?
Incomplete dominant. So let's use Jaguar, because Jaguar is an up and coming codominant.
I ain't even heard about these. And I'm supposed to be the king of the codoms.
So let's say you ended up with a Jaguar male, and
Okay.
you wanted to go for Jaguar albino stuff. If you have a single gene albino laying around, that's a perfect candidate to put to something, the Jaguar male to this, to just make some head albino stuff. And that's one of the reasons why this girl just kind of stays around. Nothing fancy or new about her. It's good to have that. Now let's put this girl up and get something else out. Once again, a huge female. So if you've been doing this for a while, you know what this is right off the bat. This is Mojave. So this is one of those original genes, been around forever, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful genetic mutation that makes these ball pythons, started these ball pythons into what we have now. So a lot of people will ask me, why do you have just a single gene Mojave? Well, go straight back to it. So if I had a newer project, recessive or not recessive, this would be a perfect candidate to put into it. For example, let's say we'll use a different one other than Jaguar.
Trick.
Fine. So let's say we got a multi-gene trick male. Say what's what's something multi-gene? Let's say you got a chocolate fire trick.
I do have a chocolate fire trick.
So let's say chocolate fire trick. Well, that would be a good candidate for this girl, because once you start adding a bunch of genes into one animal, it starts to get too confusing and you can't figure out what's going on. So sometimes less is actually more. And in the artistic world, you'll hear that very often. Like when you're painting and drawing things, less is more, less is more, less is more. And what we're doing is creating a living art. So sometimes it's okay to have that less is more type thing. Not everything has to have 7 or 8 genes to look cool. So, you know, a simple fire chocolate trick to a Mojave pairing is something that can still create some mind-boggling and beautiful animals. So again, this girl's big, 12, 13 egg layer. It's hard to part with girls like this, and I've had her for a long time. So there's some sentimental value that I have, you know, with some of these big girls as well. So pop her back in and grab another. So this girl, who actually may be building right now, this is a fire. So yeah, we see a bunch of cool stuff online, but fire to me is always going to hold a special place in my heart because of what it does. So this is just single gene fire. If you held this animal next to just a normal, there would be a tremendous difference in how much lighter color that the fire is over the normal. So, and it does change the pattern up too. But again, this girl's just big. You know, she's usually a 9 or 10 egg layer. And if I had, you know, a really, really, really cool male that I wanted to introduce and make it cleaner and quote unquote better, this would be a perfect girl to do that on. Let's say, let's go back to our recessives and say, let's do a Inchy, Orange Dream, Desert Ghost, Pot. If I had a,
there you go.
If I had a male, which obviously I don't, I wish I did, but if I had a male like that, putting that male to a female, just a normal fire that lays 9 or 10 eggs, could make some crazy double heads from that male. So you're getting fire into that project, and that's, you know, why I keep a single gene girl laying around. Goes back to, if you mix too many genes, you can run into some issues, and I can use that girl for other things along those lines that would potentially, looks like she's finna poop.
She gonna poop on you? That's so, a population.
I could use this girl to figure out other males. Like if you end up with a male that has got a bunch of genes in it, you're not sure what's there, you can use a female along those lines too. So I do keep and have and recommend people holding on to, depending on what size collection you have, but you know, 3 or 4 single gene females. I probably have 8 to 10 single gene girls, and that's the reason why. As a breeder point of view, the single gene males, unless it's a newer male or recessive male, I don't think it makes sense for most keepers anymore. I would consider that more of a, you know, pet or a, you know, hobbyist. All right, I'm going to put this girl up, and we'll get out something that's not so simple.
One of them desert goats.
Desert goats.
Desert goat.
So, all right. So this girl is way more complex than what we've seen, but you know, again, we get asked about doing videos on the adults, and this is one of them. So she's a few years old now. She is actually the mama to the blackhead desert ghost that we made 2 years ago. The world's first blackhead desert ghost, I might add. This is a pastel chocolate Inchy desert ghost het hypo. She's one of my favorite snakes. I really like the way she looks. This is, you know, what I'm leaning more towards in my collection in general. Add more of the desert ghost. So obviously this girl is quote unquote more powerful than the girls that we've previously showed, but is she really worth more than what they're worth? And honestly, that lies in what you plan on putting with them. From a business point of view and money point of view, you can actually make just as much money off of those single gene females as you could with this female. depending on what mail you were going to run to them. So just something to think about. Obviously, this girl put to the right mail could make some insane combinations. And the mail that I'm probably going to use her on her this year is going to be a Fire Pied Het Desert Ghost. I love what Fire does with Desert Ghost, and I could potentially make some Desert Ghost Het Pieds, which I have 0 of. I have some Pied Het DGs, but I don't have any DG Het Pieds. So I'd really like to make some to keep and potentially sell as well. So that's what I'm planning on doing with her. And obviously that's going to be way more of an advancement into your projects than what those single gene females can give you. I get that. But don't forget those single genes, because they are great stepping stones and building blocks for stuff for you in the future. Don't think that everything in your collection has to be top notch or the best of the best. And yeah, it's cool to have that, but that isn't the only way to build a solid foundation for your business and your collection. Not everything has to be a $2,000 animal in order for you to enjoy this and build a business and have customers who support you and do things like that, because Lord knows not every snake in my rack is like this. Most of them are going to be much more simple, like the ones we showed you earlier. So anyway, that's my opinion. Please don't drag me under the school bus. But you know, that's just a little bit of information from you. That's how I feel. I get asked about this all the time, so I figured I'd run a video on it. And you know, not everybody can afford this high-end stuff, so I just want people to know that it's okay not to have the super crazy females or males, you know, in your collection. That you can still have a great foundation just off of good stuff, as long as it's different stuff. And that's the key word there, is doing something different. Thinking outside the box is where you're going to get ahead.
Following your own path.
Follow your own path. Yeah, I tell people that all the time. So hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably long and boring for most of you, but anyway, that's all I got. See you next time.
Be out! Thanks for watching Hardwired Exotics, and make sure you subscribe. Bye!